Nation. This is Kyle Neerman, Assistant Director of Media Relations, and I'm lucky today to be joined by Rob Keys, head football coach here at the University of Findlay. Rob, nice to see you off the golf course here. We're getting ready for football season.
Yeah, definitely.
Rob went 6-5 last year with some tight games decided by 5 points or less. What's the feeling at the end of last season, and how does that roll into the summer?
You know, last season it was remarkable how close the games were. 8 games came down to the last series, and 5 or 6 of those games came down to the very last play. So it just shows you the parity in this league and how tough it is to win games. Are we pleased with the 6-5? No, not by any means. You know, it's funny how fast things have gone. I mean, we're going into season 6, and I know year one I made pretty high expectations when we talked, and I said, hey, we want to win every game. That's our expectation. And last year there was a lot of good, but at the same time we have a long way to go before we get to where we need to.
Rob, for a lot of the fans out there, they don't understand really what goes into a summer, and you've had players here all summer long, basically. Can you kind of give them a little insight into what happens in the summer and what you're looking for?
It's funny. People think we just show up on Saturday and we roll a ball out and play, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, and our kids, they do a tremendous job of working 365. You know, we finish up with the fall, and they get a little bit of downtime, but then the winter is probably the toughest phase of our program. I mean, it's very difficult. Our director of strength conditioning, Chad Wagner, does a tremendous job with those guys, and seeing the transformation from the time the guys walk in as freshmen to seniors is incredible. But you know, May is kind of a downtime for our players after finals, but once June 1 rolls around, you know, they're back on campus and they're working, you know, 4 days a week to get themselves ready to start preseason camp come August.
All right, and you mentioned the freshmen, and I was lucky enough to be with you on signing day this year, where you signed 31 freshmen. What as a head coach are you looking for out of a player that's looking to make that jump from high school ball to Division II football?
The biggest part, it's not so much the physical, it's the mental. High school kids just have no idea what it is to put in the work in the film room and study the game, and the complexity of the game offensively and defensively changes dramatically when you come from high school to college. So that's the big part. The faster that a freshman can adjust mentally, the better chance to have to play in 2016.
All right, Rob, and one of the strengths of the team, obviously, last few years has been the offense. You have a quarterback that led the GLIAC in passing yards per game, a unit that was in the top in the GLIAC in most of the offensive categories. What else can this group do, and what can Oilers fans look for this season out of that offensive group?
They can always do more. You know, I always say that when we score 40, we should have scored 41. And the thing is, I like the chemistry in our offense. Now, we did lose 2 vital pieces up front. We lost both offensive tackles on the right side and the left side. And of course, Chris Reaper was one of the most highly touted players in our Division II era. And then we lost Tim Szabo at wide receiver. And then kind of the guy that has been the consistent captain and consistent worker, Daquan Ford at tailback. You know, those are 4 really, really guys we're going to miss a whole lot. But, you know, I like the guys that came back. You know, Reese, our returning quarterback, yeah, he had a great year, but he had some inconsistencies that we need to work on. And I think he's done a really good job in the offseason studying the film and trying to figure out some of the ways that he can maybe eliminate some of the mistakes in some of the bigger games.
All right, then we go to the flip side of the ball. On the defensive side, what on Saturdays fans have seen maybe a little struggling, but you've got a lot of returning guys and some guys that have shown that they're ready to play at this level and can make big plays. What do you look for out of that defensive group?
You know, on defense, I know everyone sees the finished product. You see what the score is or how many yards you gave up in a game. But our defense improved greatly from about week 5, week 6 on. I know the last 3 games we had 6 freshmen starting on defense, 3 true freshmen and 3 redshirt freshmen. So you look at, you know, more than half of the defensive squad was freshmen. It's the first time playing college football. And the thing I liked about those guys is they were very hungry. You know, they were so excited about just getting the opportunity to play. And I did see him improve greatly from, like I said, about week 6 to week 11. I think they took that same momentum into the fall, into the spring practices, and hopefully they'll take it into the fall. The one thing that, you know, I don't make a whole lot of excuses ever, but we lost some vital pieces up front to injury before the 2015 campaign started, and we're getting some of those pieces back. It's going to be a really interesting balance defensively. We've got a lot of old guys and a lot of young guys with experience. You know, everybody returns, but I keep telling them they until they start to put the product on the field consistently week in and week out, you can't say we're going to be a good defense. Offensively, I will say we've put it out there, consistently over the last 5 years. They've gone out and played pretty consistent football. Defensively, we need to get back and play more consistently, and we need to win on that side of the ball. And if we can do that, we'll win a few more games than we lose.
Right. And finally, we'll talk about the schedule. We've got all GLIAC opponents this year on the schedule. It's the last year in the league. So what are you looking for out of the schedule this year? Maybe some goals, and what kind of impression do you want to leave on this conference as we're heading out this year?
I think we've come a long way from the inception of Division II. I was kind of on that in that era when I came here as assistant, when they jumped from NAIA to Division II, and we had a couple winning seasons. We finished 9-2 the one year in 2002, and then we had back-to-back winning seasons after that. And we've had 4 winning seasons out of 5. We're right at the top when it comes to wins over the last 5 seasons. We're right about the top 5 or top 6. And you look at some of the players we produced, but ultimately, I mean, our goal. The league is so tough. Every week you have to go out and be at your best, and that's our goal. We can't look too far ahead. You start to say, oh well, we're looking to win a championship, we're looking to win the playoffs. You're going to get caught, and you're going to get lost in a great league, because you better be focused on the opponent you play, because every team you play, whether it's the number 15 team or the number 1 team, they have an opportunity to beat you, and that's what's great about the league. It's going to be a bittersweet season. I won't lie. There's been a lot of rivalries built, and a lot of friendships built too along the way with some of the coaches in the GLIAC. But it's great football. It's one of the best conferences in Division II, and it's going to be sad, to finish. But it'd be nice to finish off with a bang. So we'll see. We open up, against Saginaw Valley week 1, but we have a long way to go before we even start talking about them.
All right, thank you, Rob. Again, as Rob mentioned, Oilers open up their season September 3rd at 7 p.m. under the lights at Donnell Stadium against Saginaw Valley State. And remember, for all the information regarding Oilers athletics and Oilers football, visit athletics.findlay.edu. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Findlay Oilers.